Hello YouTube, this is Matt from the Bluebell Model Railway channel here with another Workbench video. As you can see, I am not on the Isle of Wight at the moment. I'm back home in Buckinghamshire in a very wet and cold shed. Currently with the layout at the moment, which is actually behind me. I've been doing some various work on it at the moment, replacing some of the steel track which is rusted and eroded and basically crippled all the contacts between the rails and the fish plates, etc. Which sort of got me thinking about this video, which I'm about to do for you at the moment. I see a lot of questions on various Facebook groups, mainly in the past, and it's now sort of quieting down a little bit, but a lot of people asking, how do I ballast the track? And also glue it down at the same time. So I thought I'd grab this odd bit of wood which you can see in front of me, which will be our baseboard for this particular exercise. You can see a piece of track. So if you're tacking down the track, what you need is trap pins, which you can see here. Got some nice brass ones, a little tack hammer, or you can get a pin pusher, which I think you can get from Gauge Master, and also fish plates to put all the track together. Ballast, you can buy various ballasts in different colours: black, grey, light grey, medium, coarse, small, large, etc., depending what you actually want. I use a combination of medium and small N-gauge ballast as well, just to give it some variety. I mean, the larger stuff seems a little bit too big to me and a little bit out of scale, so I'm going to use just some normal N-gauge ballast which I have lying around the place at the moment. And you can sort of mix and match it, so you can mix it all together, make it look a bit prototypical. If you look at ballast, it's not all one colour, it's sort of different shades of grey, or a little bit of sort of a sandy colour, some black as well if you're on a steam railway, black, oily, coal, whatever. And you can basically mix it up to give it a more realistic look. So what I'll do is I'll tack down this track with some trap pins and we'll get straight on with it. Right, so I put the pins in the track just to keep it on the board. Now of course you can put cork or underlay under your track to give it the ballast shoulder, so you have the shoulders on the outside of the track. There are also various other gadgets and tools you can get. I think it's called poses or whatever you want to call it. I think it's a company in Turkey or something that do ballast toppers and also glue applicators, etc. Which, if you've got a large layout with lots of straights, is fantastic. And it gives you a nice even spread of ballast over the track, and you just basically drag it along and it deposits the ballast. All you sort of need to do is just run your finger along the sleepers just to push all the ballast into the gaps or holes. But we haven't got one of them, we're going to do it the old fashioned method. So the track is on the board. If you want cork underlay you can put it under, but for this example it doesn't really matter. So the track is pinned down. You need your bag of ballast. This is the ballast that I have, which is mainly N-gauge, which is a sort of sandy colour. Of course you can get various other different shades from Scenics and etc. And also you can get them off eBay for a little bit cheaper as well. So basically all you need to do is you need to apply the ballast, and where the ballast applicators come into effect is to do the outside of the track, but I don't have one, so we're just going to have to do it by eye. I'll just cut the corner off this bag so I can just sort of just let it go quite evenly and just let it run out. Just run my fingers along there just to sort of spread it out slightly. Try and give it a nice shoulder of ballast on the outside. Run my finger down there and that spreads it out quite nicely, like so. So that's the ballast down. You can see there what I've done. You can go over it with a brush, what have you, and just tap it and it will just sort of settle itself down. So that's now actually all ballasted and looks reasonably quite good. So after you're happy, and if you're doing points for example, make sure you flick them backwards and forwards, just so it sort of shakes the ballast into the right positions and make sure it's not actually catching anywhere. And you have to be very careful with points and where you have to glue them, because you don't want a stuck point, which would be a right pain to free up. So always try and make sure the ballast is just slightly below the actual sleepers on the points, just so it's nice and free and they won't get stuck. So after you put the ballast down, what you need to do is get the glue water mix together. Now the ratio that I use is 50-50, so you can have 50% water and 50% PVA glue. That's what I use. And also what you will need to do is add a small drop of washing up liquid to your glue and water mix. This just breaks the surface tension of the mixture, which helps with putting it onto the ballast, etc. Now a lot of people who say about ballasting don't actually mention this next bit, but I will. And this is just a spray gun, which is quite a well-known brand of cleaner, and this is just basically water. Now what's quite important is you must spray the ballast first so it's damp. If it's still dry, the glue and water will just sit on top and will not go through, and it will just sit on top and look absolutely horrible. So what you need to do is just dampen it down, which will make it slightly darker. As you can see, that is now nice and damp. Now I have somewhere a squeezy bottle of glue, water and washing up liquid, which I just hold in this little squeezy bottle. Now you can use a syringe if you so wish to do, and as I mentioned, Prozis or Posers or whatever they're called have a glue applicator which spins a wheel on the top and deposits about 3 drops of glue, one in the middle, 2 on the outside, etc, etc, which is a bit of a long way of doing it. Anyway, the ballast has now been wetted down or dampened. Don't want to add too much, because if you add so much water it will even dilute this mixture even more. So this is the 50-50 mix of PVA, water with a drop of washing up liquid. What you need to do is just squeeze it out, and you can see it's dissipating through the actual ballast quite nicely there. You can see it's nicely spreading out. You don't need too much, but you need enough on there to make sure it goes down through the ballast. There you go. This mixture usually takes about 24 hours to dry, so you should be able to run trains tomorrow if you wish. What's also worth noting is always remember to clean off the top of the rails, just so the rails are nice and clean, ready for you to run trains tomorrow, and also you won't get glue left on top of the rail head. So if you give it a nice wipe over, I'll just do it with my finger, or you can use a track rubber. I don't know where mine is at the moment, it's over there. So if you just want to quickly rub the tops of the rails just to make sure they're nice and clean without any glue on top of it. Now that mixture and that ballast should be dry in 24 hours. After that 24 hours you can whip out the track pins, because the track will be held in place with the glue and the ballast, and then you'll have no track pins in your track either. But that's how you basically ballast. So this will take 24 hours to dry, and then you can run a train on it. I hope this little demonstration has been of use to you. You can also, after it's dried as well, you can weather it down with water paints, like watercolour paints. What I do with mine is I just dampen the track down a little bit, use some black paint and just sort of let it soak into the ballast, which gives it a nice coaly, oily look to it. Of course, before ballasting as well, you can also weather your track, so you can spray it over with an airbrush, weather it down, make it look rusty, etc. This is just a quick demo just to show you how to ballast and track, or a quick method anyway. But if you wish to do weathering, do it before the ballast, pin it down, spray it, then add the ballast and do exactly the same as I showed you before. You can also go over it with an airbrush afterwards to add some more weathering to the ballast, or use watercolours like I have just suggested. Anyway, I hope this is of use to you, and hopefully I'll see you on the next Workbench video, or hopefully a layout video if it's nice and dry tomorrow, which it hopefully should be. We do have some new model videos coming up, and new layout videos coming up hopefully, before this layout completely gets shut down and taken apart, because it is getting quite knackered and old now. Anyway, I hope this has been of use to you, and we'll see you in the next one.